Give me a few minutes. Woo. Were you blessed by that? Was anybody else blessed by that? Hallelujah. John chapter 9. Familiar to most. I'd like to begin at verse 13, read through verse 18. John chapter 9, verse 13. And I'm reading from the King James Version. It says, they brought to the Pharisees him that before time was blind. And it was the Sabbath day when Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes. Then again, the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. He said unto them, he put clay upon my eyes, and I washed, and do see. Therefore said some of the Pharisees, this man is not of God, because he keepeth not the Sabbath day. Others said, how can a man that is a sinner do such miracles? And there was a division among them. They say unto the blind man again, what sayest thou of him, that he hath opened thine eyes? He says, he is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind, meaning in the first place, and that he received his sight, until they called the parents of him that had received his sight. Verse 24 and verse 25. Then again called they the man that was blind, and said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. Verse 25, he says, and he answered and said, whether he be a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know, that where I was blind, now I see. Yeah. So I want to talk to you from a simple subject of all I know. Maybe you didn't get me. All I know. Maybe you never made that expression before as you gave your response. All I know. You know when you lift your hands and you surrender. That's all I know. I can't tell you nothing else. All I know is what I know. You can't get nothing else out of me because that's all I know. That's all that I know. That's all that I know. The fact is that there are going to be others in life who will try to convince you of what you don't believe. They try to convince you really to not believe in what you already know that you believe, especially in regards to your faith. Your faith in Christ Jesus. Yeah, they just have this way about them that they discount your experience. Right. They discount your experience. They tell you that your experience wasn't real. Right. Or they tell you that your experience really wasn't an experience like you thought it was. Right. And they'll come up with all kinds of reasons as to why whatever took place, and it didn't really mean what it meant in your life. Come on. All kinds of reasons, even if they have to go scientific, cataclysmic explosion. Somebody didn't catch that, but I guess, cataclysmic explosion. This atom and that atom beating together, creating a whole big explosion. That's called an accident. They don't want you to believe what it is that you believe, and they challenge the thing or things that have taken place in your life. It's crazy as some of the things were that happened in your life, and they may have been crazy, and you knew they were crazy, but it still didn't change the fact that it happened. And it didn't change the fact that it happened to you. You experienced it, what took place, and I know it seemed unbelievable to you, and it seemed unbelievable to others, but I don't care how it looks, you just cannot deny what happened. You can't deny what took place in your life. And then there comes other folk who aside from the first group of folk who want to come and come with all their reasons and try and compel you to believe their argument or make some type of statement telling you and trying to tell you you should change your mind about what it is that you've experienced, what happened to you or what didn't happen to you, and then they give you the reasons, and then oftentimes seem to make sense, and people tend to use common sense to make people tend to use their common sense arguments to go against spiritual sense. Right. And they'll use common sense arguments to go against common sense. Right. When you know what you know, it's common sense to believe what you know. Right. So some people try and use common sense to tell you not to believe your common sense about what you know. Right. Okay. They always have their motive. Yes. They always have their motive for not wanting to believe and not wanting to believe you or not wanting to believe what has happened. And so to help them with their non-belief, they try to convince you to not believe. Right. Yes. Thereby what they do is they introduce confusion. Right. And confusion then creates doubt. Right. Then doubt can produce non-belief. Yeah. In other words, they will use confusion to try and change your mind about what took place in your life. Right. Sad part about it was they weren't even there. Right. So the chapter opens up and the disciples saw a blind man, and they said to Jesus, who did sin to cause this man to be blind, his mother or his father? Jesus said neither his mother nor his father had sinned, but this is for God's glory. And that's when Jesus makes the famous statement in John 9:4 when he said, I must work the works of him that sent me. But when night comes, no man can work. You know about the power that lies within that text. He said, I need God's glory to be made manifest, that God's glory may be revealed. Then Jesus gets near the man, and then Jesus spits on the ground. Listen, without the man's permission, Jesus spits on the ground. He then makes clay out of his saliva in the dirt. He then places the dirt and the clay upon the man's eyes, and then he sends the man to the pool of Siloam and tells him to go and wash his eyes. And the man did exactly what Jesus told him to do. Yes. Yeah. The blind man said, now I see, but the neighbors asked him and asked around and said, is not this the man who's been blind all of his life? Is not this him? And so they asked him. They said, aren't you the one who was blind? How is it now that you can see? And he simply asked him, he said, a man named Jesus made clay and anointed my eyes and said to me, go to the pool of Siloam and wash. So I went and washed and received my sight. So I went, I washed, and I received my sight. That wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough, because then it says they took him to the church. They took him to the Pharisees. To the synagogue. They took him to the church house and to the Pharisees. And when he got to the Pharisees, he was questioned again. How did you receive your sight? He said, he put clay on my eyes. I washed. Now I see. But they didn't believe that he had ever been blind in the first place. It's amazing how people will always try and turn your blessing or your miracle around and try and say the reason why this happened wasn't because of your condition. It doesn't even make sense. So they reckon within their own minds just so they can put down Jesus, just so they can put down your faith. They'll tell you that you weren't really blind in the first place. So this thing that you call a miracle really is not a miracle at all. You know you wasn't blind. You know that you could see. Well, maybe you were partially blind, but you wasn't all the way. They come up with some kind of reasoning as to determine and say that you really wasn't in the condition that you really were in. Not only is it an attack on you and your credibility, but it's an attack on Jesus. It's amazing to me in today's time how many other folk want to attack Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, instead of defending what they'd rather attack and say what didn't happen, what Jesus cannot do, instead of trying to accept the fact of what he did do.
Right.
Yeah. So that wasn't good enough for them. So he said, go call his mama and his daddy. Bible goes on to say his mama and daddy were a little bit fearful because they didn't want to get kicked out the church. They knew the power of the Pharisees, but they didn't want to get kicked out the church, so they were really careful in how they asked. Is this your son? Yeah, that's my son. Was he blind? Yeah, he blind. How did he get healed? Well, look, he grown. He's grown. Why don't you ask him yourself? Now, they already asked him. So the neighbors asked him. Then they took him to the synagogue, and the folk in the church asked him. That wasn't good enough. So then they went and called mom and dad, and mom and dad gave an answer. And they said, ask him yourself. So they hauled him back into church. Again. I said they hauled him back into church.
Yes, sir. Yes, right.
Again. They took him back to the Pharisees. And they questioned him again and said, how did you receive your sight? Yeah, he put clay on my eyes. I washed. And I did see. And then they called him and they said, look, what? Here's the tricky part about it. They said, listen, why don't you just go ahead and give God the glory? They in the church said, go ahead and give God the glory. So now they're already trying to use some type of spiritual, talk to get him to change his mind about what God had done.
Right.
All to put down the man Jesus. Is anybody with me yet? Yeah. So now they want to use God's name to put down what Jesus did in the name of the Lord. Okay. He responded by saying these words. Because they said, give God the glory. This man is a sinner. The blind man, or the man who was blind, said, look, I don't know.
Right?
Whether he's a sinner or not. All I know is, y'all done missed that. You understand what I'm saying? When you do this, you're convinced. When you do this, can't nobody change your mind. When you do your hands like this, you know it's over and done. When you do your hands like this, there's nothing more you can add to it. When you say, that means you give it all you can give. You said all. I told you already what took place, and I can't change my story. I don't know whether he's a sinner or not, but this one thing I do know, that I was blind. But now I see it. Maybe you're not with me. He said, I don't know about what you want to call him. All I know is I was blind. I know what I know, and I don't know any more than that. Is anybody with me? Sometimes all you got to do is stand on exactly what you know. You ain't got to make it nothing else. You have to add anything to it, and you definitely don't need to take anything away from it. Just know what you know, stick with what you know, say what you know, and you don't have to say anything else. Yeah. Isn't it amazing that we got to be able to say certain things to some folk who are trying to convince you not to believe that God blessed you. Yeah. Listen, I don't know, and you don't have to believe. You don't have to believe me. You ought to ask him for yourself. That's what he said. You don't have to believe me. Ask him. Go ask him for yourself. See, you can't convince me to stop believing in what I know for myself. The bottom line is, you weren't there when God blessed me. You weren't there when I was walking around with my cup begging. You weren't there when I needed help, when I tripped and fell, when I was a dip in the road. You weren't there when I was stumbling and fumbling and falling around over objects and things that I didn't know was in my pathway. You weren't there in my life when I was living in a sincere kind of darkness. You weren't there when I was falling all over the place. You weren't there when I needed help from somebody else to get me from point A to point B. You weren't there all around doing. Now you ask me and tell me that God didn't bless me with the sight that I have. You must be crazy. You must have lost your mind. And you need to know that when it comes to Jesus, all I know is that he put You can't tell me. This is my testimony.
Hallelujah.
That's when this blind man started getting an attitude with him. He got bold right back with him. Yeah, in other words, he said things kind of like what we ought to be saying.
Yeah.
Let me say it like this. He said things that we ought to be saying.
Yeah.
Things like, I don't know what he's done for you. Yeah, I don't know. And you can think whatever you want to think. You can feel however you want to feel. You can act however you want to act. And you can believe whatever you want to believe. But there's one thing for sure. And all I know is that I was blind, but now I see. All I know is his love covers me. All I know is that his hand touched me. All I know is that his power is keeping me. All I know is that I was blind, but now I see. Yeah, I had some blind spots in my life. And I had some days when I wasn't seeing too good. But all I know is that I couldn't see how I was going to make it. Have I got a witness here? Have you ever been there before? When you couldn't see how you were going to make your way through the day. Hallelujah. Have you ever been there where you settle on just being a beggar? Have you ever been there when you always seem to miss your step? Have you ever been there when you always seem to stumble and fall? Have you ever been there when you always seem to keep bumping into things and can't always seem to find your way? That's because there's a little bit of darkness and blindness in your life. Have I got a witness here? What Jesus did for me is my evidence for what I do know. Let me say it again. What Jesus did for me is my evidence for what I do know. I may not know a whole lot. I may not be deep, but I do know one thing, that Jesus healed me, and that's my evidence. That Jesus delivered me, and that's my evidence. That Jesus saved me, and that's my evidence. Good God Almighty, when I was lost, and when I was lost, Jesus came and found me. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When I was sinking deep in sin and far from the peaceful shore, very deeply where I stayed within and seeking to rise no more, but the master of the sea heard my despairing crying from the waters. He lifted me and now say, am I? Is there anybody who knows that the enemy had a veil over my eyes? The enemy wouldn't allow me to see, and that's why I say I was blind, but now I see, and sin had overtaken my life and put me in a world of darkness, and I could not see. Oh, but the master came and removed the veil over my eyes, and now I was in darkness, and he brought me into the marvelous light that I might be able to see. Is there anybody here who can testify that all you know is that Jesus saved you? All you know is that Jesus delivered you. All you know is that Jesus made a way for you. All that you know is that you are a testimony. Yeah. All I know is what I know. Hallelujah. Good God Almighty. He gave me my sight. Listen, I don't know what he's done for you. Amen. And I don't know what he's done for other folk. I just know that I was blind. And now I see. I didn't think I was going to make it. But Jesus made a way. Yeah. I didn't think I could make it through. Yeah. But Jesus made a way. Yeah. I didn't think I was able to stand. But Jesus made a way that I can stand. Yeah. All I got to do is all I have is just the ability to depend on him. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I was blind. And I could not see. Hallelujah. I may have had my physical sight, but I was blind spiritually. I may have had my physical sight, but I was blind morally. Good God Almighty. But the love of Jesus, that he loved me so much that even in the midst of my darkness, he still yet came down 40 and 2 generations. That even in the midst of my darkness, he found his way to me. Even in the midst of my darkness, he touched my heart with his finger of love, and he gave me the opportunity to be healed and delivered from my sins, to be healed from my blindness, that I might have sight, that I might be able to live and live a life that gives him glory, live the life that gives him honor, live the life that gives him praise, live the life that he can say, look at my servant who wanted to serve me, my servant who was blind, now he's able to see, my servant who's looking out for the things that bring me glory. Good God Almighty, is there anybody here today who knows that you can trust in him? Have I got a witness in the house today? Yeah, you were blind, and I was blind, and none of us could really see, but it was God's glory that was made manifest manifest in our lives, that we might be able to have sight and live this life. All I know is that when I'm with Jesus, I can give him the praise. When I serve Jesus, I can give him the glory. When I serve him, I can give him the honor. And I can worship him. I heard the Pharisees when they said give him glory, but they wanted me to give him glory for something you wanted me to say he didn't do. But I got to give him glory when he did it. Some of y'all been blind, just like me. Some of y'all been struggling, just like me. Some of y'all been falling over, just like me. Oh, but the same Jesus who delivered the blind man, the same Jesus who gave me sight, the same Jesus who's working on you. You may as well go ahead and give God the glory. Give God some praise because he opened your blind eyes. Give God some praise because he removed the veil from your eyes. Give God the praise because he brought you out of darkness into a marvelous light. Give God the glory. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Somebody give him glory. All I know is that I believe. All I know is that Jesus is the Son of God. All I know is that he died for me. All I know is that he raised for me. And all I know is that he's coming back for me. Have I got a witness today? You ought to be excited that no matter what state you're in, you ought to know that he died for your sins. You ought to know that he rose again, that you may have life and that more abundantly. And you ought to be excited that one day he's coming back again to claim you unto himself. I can hear a song there, Sister Fred, echoing in my ear. The song that says, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost. Have I got a witness in the house today? You can testify at one time you were lost. I was lost, but now I'm found. I like the next one. He said, I was blind, but now I see. Is there anybody today who can celebrate Jesus? Anybody today who can give God the praise? Anybody today who can give God glory? Because you were blind, but now you see. One day you were lost, but now you're found. One day you couldn't find your way, but the Lord Almighty stepped into your life, shined the light on your pathway, and now the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord because he shined the light in your life. He shined the light over your life, and he shined the light through your life. Good God Almighty, that's why you ought to be a light that sits on top of the hill. Good God Almighty, that men may see God your good works and give God the glory. Somebody shout yes.